Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 713 Houston Sports. It's Mr. 713. And I tell you guys that I try to bring on talent. And that's exactly what I did today. He is one of the hosts at probably, if not the best sports radio show in Houston, Sports Radio 610 in the Loop. Landry Locker, welcome
How
to
you
the
doing, man? How you doing? How you living?
I'm doing good, man. Just grinding. I see you grinding every day. Hear you from 10 to 2.
Trying to survive, man. The more tired you are these days, the better. It's a blessing.
It's a blessing. So we have a very tough conversation we have going against us, Mr. Locker, because the Houston Texans are an 0-2, and we knew 0-2 was a very good possibility, right? You're playing against the probably one of the best teams in the NFL, and the Chiefs, and then the MVP next week. But I think how the Texans are losing these games is what has to be concerning. And it has to start with the offense. The first 2 weeks, how do you think this offense has been?
Terrible. I mean, it's been god awful. And I mean, if they were going to be a good team, the offense is what had to be good because you have all this invested in the offensive line. You've invested all this in the receivers. You got rid of Hopkins. And the offense has just been bad. They're worse than the defense in yards per game and points per game. Uh, I mean, really, they gave you everything that you could have asked for against Baltimore. 14 of the 33 points they gave up were as a result of, giving them a short field, going for it on 4th and 1, and then the QT fumble. The offense has just been really bad. And the most discouraging part is it's not like it looks like they're trying to learn new things and they have a new system or something with Kelly. It looks like the exact same system, and it looks stagnant. But it almost just looks like the Texans would have looked the last couple of years if DeAndre Hopkins had gotten hurt or something like that. Like it's a total disaster. You hope that maybe it gets better, but the offense has just been piss poor, to say the very least. It's been hot garbage, because I can put it a better way than that.
Yeah, no, I was one of the people advocating that this offense is going to be something we haven't seen, that the ball was going to be spread around. This offensive line was going to get better, which it looks like it's gotten worse. I think it all circles to, Bill O'Brien, because he's the GM, he's the head coach, he's damn near the owner. He put this team together. I think it's funny how everything is starting to come around. I myself think O'Brien's the problem. Who do you think the problem for this Houston Texans team is?
Well, I think it has to be him if we're just talking about the offense because it's his system, and that's what really fires me up about it. As you start talking about it, is it's his system, and Tim Kelly's been following him around for 10 years,
Yep.
and I mean, I kind of saw it coming. I thought maybe they knew what they were doing, just because the moves were so bold. But I mean, it's his system, so I think you have to blame Bill O'Brien. You have to blame his system. And the most amusing thing to me is, it's a system from the New England Patriots, and the Patriots. Tom Brady left, and it took him 2 months to change a system that was there for 2 decades. Like you don't even recognize it. Like you're watching Cam Newton, it's like, oh, okay,
So I wanted to
damn, they
bring
might
up.
be onto something. It's already done, but Bill O'Brien is still running this system, and it's not a good offensive system. They don't know how to play fast. They don't know how to recognize blitzes. No matter how much they invest in the offensive line, looks like the offensive line is the same. Hell, maybe the Chiefs and Ravens are just the two best defenses in the NFL, and maybe the offense starts clicking. But based on what I've seen, there's just not really much reason for optimism with the offense outside of just Deshaun doing heroic things, which is kind of what I thought we were trying to get away from when they made the changes that they were making.
Yeah, and I agree, and it's also very alarming if you see their body languages. Everybody just looks like they just do not want to be there. They're very upset. You talked about it a couple shows ago that somebody needed to be fired, right? You said somebody has to be fired. Who was that? The guy that you thought about?
Well, I might have got caught in the moment, but I just said that Tim Kelly. I just said that Tim Kelly needs to be fired because if Bill O'Brien, if Bill O'Brien's going to do things his way, I don't want Tim Kelly to be like the fall guy. I don't want Tim Kelly to be like the guy where Bill O'Brien says, "Oh well, we'll just get a new offensive coordinator and keep it going." So if it were me, they wouldn't be running the same offensive system. They would have brought in someone from the outside, and that person would have come in. They would have run their offense, and that's what would have happened. That's what they did in Jacksonville with Jay Gruden, and Minshew's playing good right now. That's what I would have done. But I got in the moment and I said, Tim Kelly, I wouldn't mind it. I would almost rather O'Brien just call plays at this point, because I don't know that Tim Kelly's a better version. And quite honestly, I think Bill O'Brien's so probably over his shoulder to where I don't know that Tim Kelly, even if he wants to do something, is able to do it. So I think O'Brien might as well just pick up the play sheet and call the plays, not because I think that he's good at it. I mean, we've seen it the last 6 years. They haven't had an offensive DVOA that's top half of the league. But just because, hell, he might as well. I mean, he might as well, because it looks like the exact same stuff. And it's really the worst if you look at it statistically. It's the second fewest amount of points they've had the first 2 weeks of the season. And the only time it was lower, 36 is their combined total right now, but they've had 20. That was in 2017, and Tom Savage played 2 quarters, and Deshaun had to start on a Thursday night. So, I mean, I guess you could expect that offense not to be very good. This is the worst. This is worse than Osweiler's 2 weeks in. This is worse than Fitzpatrick's 2 weeks in. It's worse than the Mallett-Hoyer duo 2 weeks in. And it's worse than any year in which Deshaun started the season as the quarterback. So it's bad. So why not just let O'Brien pick up the play sheet so that there's not any possible scapegoats or any possible fall guys?
I agree. Like, he is the man to blame. This is his team. Now, we don't just want this video to be, a sad video about the Houston Texans offense. One surprising thing is Anthony Weaver. I know a lot of people still think this defense is hot garbage, but they put the Houston Texans in position to maybe not win the game, but make it more competitive. I'm surprised in what Anthony Weaver is doing with this amount. He doesn't have a lot of talent, and not a lot of stuff was invested in the defensive side of the ball in the offseason, but I love what he's doing so far.
Yeah, and I know, like, when you say that Anthony Weaver's done a good job, and I say that, it's like, well, this defense is, bad. Yeah, it's bad. But tell me what you expect the defense to be, because you let DJ Reader go, you let Clowney go before last season. You brought in Eric Murray for whatever reason. Don't know what he's doing. You didn't really add anything to it to where you could really expect it to be much better. Whitney Merciless appears to be on a steady decline, so you can't expect much. I don't think it's realistic to expect much from this defense. And if you would have told me before the Ravens game that they were going to hold Baltimore to 33 points and 14 of those points would be because of the offense, sign me up for that. I mean, they held them to a field goal in the first half, the first drive of the second half. And the Texans, it was still a 2-possession game. The offense went down and kicked the field goal and didn't take advantage of it. Your resources are on offense. You've had 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks on the O-line. You trade a second-round pick for Cooks. You trade a third-round pick for Duke Johnson. You traded DeAndre Hopkins and took back David Johnson. His contract is one of the 5 highest-paid running backs in the league. You gave Randall Cobb $18.5 million. I don't know where the hell that came from. Those are where your resources are. Your offense, you should expect. I don't think it's fair to expect Anthony Weaver to get a lot of this defense. I think that's unfair, and I think with what he has to work with, I think he's doing about as good as you could realistically expect. But I still expect this to be one of the worst defenses in the league. I just feel bad for Anthony Weaver that he's having to deal with what he's having to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough scene, and you play against the Chiefs week 1, you play against the Ravens week 2, and now you got a Steelers defense that blitzes 58% of the time, and Big Ben is looking like he's the Big Ben of old. This, in my opinion, is the must win right now. Is a week 3 must win of the season for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a game you're going to have to win, because at some point you're going to have to establish yourself in either the first tier, the second tier, or something like that, if you're trying to sell your fan base that you're trying to take the next step. Because we know they haven't reached the top tier with Baltimore and KC. Pittsburgh's in that second tier. You're going to have to get a quality win at some point. And I think the most disastrous win that I think would get Cal McNair's attention is if you do lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, and then you lose to an 0-3 or 1-2 Vikings team with Gary Kubiak calling the offense. I think that could be something where the pressure does kind of pile up on Bill O'Brien, because the coach that you replace comes in and his offense gets the best of you. That would be like the nightmare for Bill O'Brien. But I'm with you, man. If they want to start at some point they're going to have to win a game and get their confidence up. And this Pittsburgh win is attainable. I mean, this team is not as good as Baltimore, and they're not as good as KC. This is a win that they need, because who knows what happens? Who knows what the mood's like if you don't get this one done?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Also, I think it's one. Like I said, it's a very game that you could win. They're 16 in rushing. Juju he's playing okay. He's not playing great. The Texans haven't allowed a receiver over 100 yards either. So, but they do have that. They do allow so much yards on the ground. I think it's going to be a pivotal game for the Houston Texans. Do you see the Houston Texans winning that game? I know it's Wednesday.
Gosh. See, I was gonna wait till Friday to make the pick. I just don't, man. Like it wouldn't shock me, and I might change my mind by Friday. But I just don't think that they can stop the Steelers blitz. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a game they have a chance to win, but I just don't think they can stop the blitz. And the scariest thing for me about the Texans is they haven't ran the ball well, and they're actually third, the third fewest rushing yards in the league, just ahead of the two New York teams. And at this point, I don't know if it's because they're not willing to so far 2 weeks in, or I don't know if it's because they're just not able to 2 weeks in. So I'd like to see them at least show that they're able to run the ball, but I'm skeptical as to whether or not that's the case. I know Johnson had the 11 carries for 77 yards in the game against the Chiefs, and he looked good, specifically on that second drive and at other times. But I just don't know that this team's able to run the rock like they probably need to. So because of that, I'll go with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope it's a good game as well. I mean, and then just the David Johnson issue. Like, I'm pulling for this guy so much. Last year we had Carlos Hyde. He had over 1,000 yards. The whole offensive line just looks different. In my opinion, I think it looks worse, which just goes back to coaching. But before we let you go, Mr. Locker, I know I love to talk Texans, but Rockets need a new head coach. James Harden said we're one piece away. Who would you like for the Houston Rockets to bring in as a head coach?
See, if it were me, I would have never gotten rid of D'Antoni. I would have probably just wrote it out, because I think he did a good job with Harden, and I don't know what Harden's going to look like with a new coach. Part of me says, now on one side, and I'm not trying to straddle the fence. I'm just trying to lay out a few candidates. Part of me says, I would like to bring in like a Sam Cassell or an Adrian Griffin for their first head coaching jobs. But I don't know if guys coaching for the first time would be able to demand the respect and the attention that they need from a Harden and a Westbrook. Mm-hmm. So that's where I would go, where Jeff Van Gundy wants the gig, according to my co-host John Lopez. I would be okay bringing in Jeff Van Gundy and kind of letting him have his last-ditch effort and see what he could do with Harden and Westbrook. But that Sam Cassell would be the guy I would like.
I think he excites you.
He excites you. He's a guy. He's kind of he's a local guy. He's kind of a local legend for what he did with Clutch City, and I think he's also enough of an OG / hard ass to where he wouldn't be scared to tell James Harden what was up. And that's just kind of his mannerisms. So I would like to see Sam Cassell, but I would understand a Jeff Van Gundy hire.
I just want somebody to hold Harden accountable. Now, Harden also said, just before we let you go, they're one piece away.
How? Where's the money? Where's the money?
What one piece advantage? I mean, we see the trade rumor. We see Kevin Love. We've seen the trading Westbrook away. I personally want them to go after someone like an Embiid. I don't think they can. I would love Embiid. Honestly, I'd be
look. Harden would though. You think Harden could play with Embiid?
He don't have a choice, man. I mean, dude, you're 30, you're 30-something years, 31. I think you're 31 years old. Dude, you don't have a lot of basketball left, dude. At this point, you got to bite the bullet and just play with people who you don't really want to play with, but to get the job done.
I don't know if they're going to do that with Harden. It's Harden's franchise, man.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
thing. Whoever the answer to the question, who are the Rockets going to hire as coach? Whoever the hell Harden wants. That would be my answer.
ain't that something, dude? A player, I mean, controlling the franchise.
That's the NBA for you.
Yes. Well, anyway, Mr. Landry Locker, let the people know where they can hear you at.
10 to 2, Monday through Friday, in the loop on Sports Radio 610, radio.com app, so you can listen to it anytime, or just the traditional 6:10 a.m.
As always, guys, and always, guys, I'll be here. I'll be doing a video tomorrow talking about hopefully these Houston Texans pull out a victory. But as always, go Texans. You guys have a blessed day.